Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to First Attack here on Ultra Chen TV. I am, of course, James Chen, and I am the host of First Attack. And today, I will be talking about a technique that a lot of players have been using for a very long time. A technique which I feel is very underrated and at the same time might be a little too relied upon, but it is definitely a valuable technique to learn, and that is hit confirms. I've been spending the last couple of First Attacks talking about different forms of execution, and today I want to talk about hit confirms and how they can improve your game and why they're actually such a big deal to Street Fighter and any fighting game in general. And you know, there's a lot of little subtle techniques to making hit confirms work and to make them easier to do. And I'm going to go over a lot of those right now, and just a lot of philosophy that I have with hit confirms and how they work, why they work, and in general, what doesn't work with a hit confirm. So before I start kind of going into techniques on why hit confirms are useful or why hit confirms... Well, before I start talking about how to do hit confirms, I should say, before I start going into the techniques, I actually want to kind of bring up the reasons why hit confirms are necessary in the first place. Because there's actually a lot of reasons why you'd want to hit confirm. If you don't hit confirm properly, there's a lot of bad things that can happen. So I'm going to go over those situations right now. And the nice thing about it is Street Fighter Cross Tekken just came out. This game is very hit confirm heavy. There's a lot of hit confirming involved in this game. So this is actually a really good game to talk about why hit confirms are so useful. And what I'm going to do here is set my opponent to all block and show you exactly why hit confirms are good. What I want to do here is I'll change my meter to max start so I can run out of meter. So there's really honestly three reasons why that you're going to want to learn to hit confirm. Three main reasons. And the first reason is pretty much the obvious reason. A lot of things that you can do in fighting games are unsafe. For example, you know, if I do low forward uppercut, you know, if my opponent happens to block it, I'm gonna die. You know, so I'm not gonna go and risk everything by just doing low forward into uppercut like that, because that's just gonna leave me vulnerable if they block it and I'm gonna die, right? So, actually, now that I think about it, I should probably explain kind of what a hit confirm is, what the definition of a hit confirm is before I start showing you guys. So, what a hit confirm is that it's a sequence of moves that can lead to a lot larger damage if you happen to hit them. So what I'm going to do is put him to random block. If I happen to hit him, I can actually go into a longer combo like that. Well, okay, that didn't combo. But, okay, if I see it's hitting him, I can go into a longer combo like that. But if they happen to block, then I can react and not do my combo. So that's basically what a hit confirm is. It allows you to branch your paths, basically. So if you start attacking them and they're blocking, you can stop doing your combo. If they get hit, you can finish your combo and do a decent amount of damage. Kind of like that, right? So the first reason why you would do a hit confirm, like I said, pretty obvious, is because if I'm just going to go up and say, you know what, I don't know if he's going to block or not. I don't know if he's going to block or not, but you know what, I'm going to go for low forward uppercut, yeah, and hit him. This is actually a really bad idea, and this is actually something that a lot of beginners have problems with. They want to go for the combo they know. If they're really familiar with doing fierce into uppercut, they're going to rely on fierce uppercut every single time. And then, they're going to go up to their opponent, they're going to block it, and then they're going to die from doing fierce uppercut for pretty much no reason. In the case of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, one of the most important hit confirms is actually cross rush chains. So that right there, if I do a full cross rush chain and end into the launchers are, I think, on average of minus 20 or minus 14 or some crazy high number. They are super punishable. So while you can get a cool combo off of it if you connect it, you're going to want to hit confirm it, because if you don't hit confirm it, that's going to happen. Your opponent blocks it and they're going to kill you. So they do a move, you think you can hit them with low short before they can get you, so you're like, oh, okay. So you're going to do this crazy combo and try to launch them. They block it, you die. This is a bad thing to do. This is something that you do not want to do. You want to be able to hit confirm and save yourself from dying. Even if you do this, let's say if I just do that, like, oh, okay, he blocked it, so I'm not going to do a launcher. That is still minus 14 on average or so if you just end with a hard attack. If you end with hard punch or if you end with hard kick, you are in delay for a very, very long time. And so it's actually very punishable in many situations. So even ending there is bad. So most of the time you want to hit confirm off of 2 buttons like this. And you know, I do have to make the caveat that even on a cross rush chain, if you do 2 buttons, you are still punishable in a lot of situations. But depending on the range that you're at and depending on your opponent's reaction, it's much harder to punish those than it is to punish this. That's super easy to punish. This, not so much as easy to punish. So that's why you're going to want to, that's one reason why you want to learn hit confirms, because you don't want to do something that will leave yourself vulnerable and kill yourself. So keep that in mind. That's number 1. Number 2 reason why you do not want to, that you want to learn hit confirms is simply because you don't want to waste meter. Everyone talks about this sequence here with Ryu, that this EX donkey kick here, very safe on block. Oh, I've run out of meter. Hang on. Let me go to refill here. Very safe on block here, that move. Now, so a lot of people are just going to go up and go, you know what? Instead of low forward uppercut, I'm just going to go, oh, right into EX donkey kick. Because even if they block it, I'm safe. There are applicable situations where this is a worth it strategy to just kind of go for a Hail Mary and hope they hit him. But in situations where you're doing something like a pressure string and then you go up to them, you might as well hit confirm into your move to make sure you don't waste the meter. Even if it's safe, especially in a game like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, meter is super important in this game. You only get 3 bars. And they do a lot of different things. Alpha counters are super important in this game. Switch cancels are super useful in this game. There's a lot of reasons not to waste your meter. So one of the best reasons to do a hit confirm is to not waste your meter like this. So if I'm just going to walk up to him and go, oh, I'm going to low forward super him, and you're going to lose all this meter for no reason. Instead, I could walk up and do low short, low jab, low strong into super. And you know, yeah, one way will do more damage. Low forward and a super will probably do more damage overall than going into this because of damage reduction. Oops, I missed the low strong there. It'll do more than that sequence due to damage reduction. But at the same time, if I see they block it, I don't have to end up wasting the meter. And so a lot of times hit confirm is not only to save your own skin, but also to make sure you don't waste meter. You see it in Third Strike a lot. You see a lot of Ken players, you know, before they ever do a super, they always walk up and do low short, low jab, low short, and then if they see it hitting, then they go into super. Like, oh, what is Ken's super? That's right, it's spin kick with 3 kick. Okay, I can't do it. Oh, because I'm chaining. That's right. I can't do that in this game. I can do it in Third Strike, but I can't do it in this game. Sorry. That's that weird chaining, linking discrepancy with the buttons. But you'll see that in Third Strike a lot. Ken players doing that sequence in particular. Even in games like Marvel, you'll see a lot of people do hit confirms. They'll actually dash up and do boom, boom. You know, they'll do some combo, crazy chain combo, and then if it hits, they'll go into launcher. If not, they'll cancel into a move that makes them safe. So it's kind of like a branching situation. So for example here, if I'm Ryu and I do that sequence right there, that's punishable. So this, if I do this, that's going to be punishable sometimes based on your opponent's moves. So if I see them block, maybe I'd rather do a fireball or something like that, because that will allow me to be safe and I get the chip damage anyway. So, you can kind of use that time to hit confirm to know whether you should cancel into a safe special move, or if they block. A safe special move if they block, or a less safe special move if you actually hit them. And then, so once again, I've gone over 2 reasons why you want to do a hit confirm. 1, to save yourself, because certain attacks have so much delay and you will die. Secondly, because you don't want to waste meter that could be very precious to have. Third one, a little bit less obvious, and it's really about momentum. So let's say I'm planning to do that with Ryu. If they get hit by it, okay, nice. I get a decent amount of damage here. But look where I am now. And then after he blocks the fireball, you'll notice something. We both recover kind of around the same time. So in other words, I am now planted over here, and I've lost my momentum. If my opponent is Dalsum, this is especially bad, because I've just pushed myself this far away from him, and now he's at optimal range. Remember, we talked a lot about ranges in the very first episode of First Attack, how at certain distance, like if Ryu is right next to Dalsum, pretend this is not Kazuya, pretend this is Dalsum. If I'm right up next to him, I have a huge advantage against Dalsum. If I'm this far away from him, I am at a complete disadvantage, because Dalsum wants you to be far away. So if I sit here and do this sequence here, now I'm at the range where Dalsum has the advantage. I have taken my offense and pushed myself into a range that is bad for me. So I have essentially sabotaged my entire own game plan. So this is not what you want to do. So the third reason for hit confirming is so that you can interrupt your combo and continue to apply pressure. So if I walk up to him and he blocks, I'm not going to keep my combo going. I'm going to walk up and throw him, or I'm going to keep pressuring him, go for a cross-up or something like that. If it does happen to hit him, then I can go ahead and combo, or, a combo such as that, right? So hit confirming is a very, very useful technique. 3 different, very important reasons why you do not want to do it. And sorry I keep repeating these over and over again, but I like kind of drilling these concepts into your minds, because it's very important. If you remember the core concepts of why it's important, you don't really have to remember the details as much. So the 3 reasons why you want to do hit confirms is to make sure you don't leave yourself in a punishable situation, like so. The second reason is because you don't want to waste meter by doing something like this. And the third reason is you want to be able to maintain pressure instead of actually pushing yourself too far away and putting yourself into a bad position, especially in this game, because a lot of the Tekken characters, they're so good when you're up close to them. And a lot of these Tekken characters have these long Tekken chains. Well, actually, I've already said on my Twitter, I'm going to call them Tekken strings. They have all these long Tekken strings that sometimes they don't leave them in such good positions. So you're going to want to hit confirm some of these strings just to be able to continue applying pressure. Kazuya, for example, has a really good sequence of jab, jab. He can go jab, jab, strong. But look at after the strong. Do you see how much delay I have after the strong there? Ryu's recovered way before I have, so he's going to be able to completely punish me. Not only that, I've lost my momentum. So if I see him block, I can keep applying this pressure here and catch in a low attack. And then, if I see him hit, then I can follow up with the medium punch. So, once again, super important thing to learn, hit confirming. And so now, of course, the question is, how do we actually do hit confirming? What is the secret behind doing hit confirms? And I'll get into that right after this break. So stick around for techniques on how to do hit confirms. All right, welcome back, everyone. See, I remembered to turn on my mic. Right at the last second, I was like, wait a second, I forgot to turn on my mic. Okay, so the mic is on. So thanks again for tuning in to Ultra Chen TV. This, of course, is First Attack. And for today's lesson, I'm going over hit confirms and why they are useful. And not only that, but how do you actually do a hit confirm? And so I'm going to jump right into that concept here on how to do hit confirms. And this part is a little tricky because it's a little unintuitive. Most people, the reason why they're doing hit confirms incorrectly is because they're expecting the opponent to block. So what they're doing is they're doing their move and then they're saying, oh, he's not blocking, I'm going to finish my combo now. This is actually the wrong way to think about hit confirms. Instead, you need to train your mind so that you always think your opponent is going to get hit. You have to expect the hit and react to the block. And that's probably one of the weirdest things about hit confirms that a lot of people have not quite grasped when they try to learn hit confirm. And the reason why it's much easier to go this direction, reacting to the opponent blocking as opposed to reacting to the opponent getting hit, is just by human nature, it is much simpler to stop yourself from doing something with reaction than it is to make yourself do something with reaction. So in other words, if I expect he's going to get hit and he blocks, I don't even have to do anything at that point. I can just stop. And it's easier for me to stop. But if I expect him to block and I see him get hit, then I have to go, oh, what did I want to do? I want to do low strong fireball and such. And it kind of throws you off a little bit. It kind of makes it harder to react. A perfect example of this is... for example, let's say I just do low jab, low strong into, oh, you know what, it's not going to be the same case here in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but let's say in Street Fighter 4 when super motions were actually double fireballs plus punch. Now, obviously, in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, it's just a single fireball, 3 punches, much easier to do supers. But if you're applying this to, let's say, King of Fighters 13, or if you're applying this to Street Fighter 4 where you have far more complex motions, what you're actually going to find out, what you would do as a hit confirm, is that you would do low jab, low strong, and then you would actually double fireball motion in there before the low strong, like that. So I'm pretending I'm playing Street Fighter 4 and I'm doing double fireball motion. I'll turn on the input display so you can see that. Whoops. So what I'm doing here actually is I'm doing low jab, low strong into super, and I'm actually pumping the double fireball motion here. And the reason why this is important is because if he ends up blocking, I can actually keep myself from hitting the button. So here, let me actually put him to random block to show you. Oops. So what happens is when I hit jab, as soon as I see him block, I'm already doing low strong double fireball into super. But the thing about it is, because I saw him block, I'm actually finishing the double fireball motion. The only thing I'm doing by reacting to the low jab block, so as soon as I see him block this low jab right here, as soon as I see him block this low jab, I'm just talking about an example from Street Fighter 4 or from King of Fighters. Obviously, this is not as much of a concern in this game, but, it's going to be kind of the same thing. I'm going to do a single fireball motion anyway if I want to do low jab, if I want to do low jab, low strong, and the super. I'm actually going to do low strong and then do the fireball motion. And then what happens is, by reacting to whether or not he blocked this jab, then I am not going to hit the buttons. In other words, my reaction is to prevent myself from hitting 3 punches. I'm still doing the fireball motion. Watch on the side here. I'm still doing the fireball motion, but now my brain can tell myself to stop and not hit the 3 punches. This is much easier to react to than if I hit him with jab and go, oh, I'm hitting him, now I need to do low strong into super. Of course, in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, it's a lot easier because it is one fireball motion. But if you were playing Street Fighter 4 or King of Fighters, where you have to do a far more complex motion, like the crazy S and K motion or a double fireball, you've got to do those joystick motions so much earlier that you're already starting the double motion pretty much as soon as you hit strong. So that way, if you're doing the double fireball motion, you can just prevent yourself from hitting the 3 punches. And if they get hit, you're just going to continue your combo as is. So let's see here. So I just saw him get hit, and I'm just going to go ahead and super right there. I'm just going to finish my combo as is. But as soon as I saw him block, now I stop. Again, since it's a Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I didn't have to do the fireball motion because it's a lot easier to do. But you know, hit confirming is useful in every game, so I want to make sure that you understand that for games like Street Fighter 4, actually doing the double fireball motion is important. So now I can actually react to him getting hit or blocking the jab before I finish the combo, if I actually get the link here. And I can't blame lag this time because I'm actually playing on an Asus monitor and I have no lag, so all of my excuses have gone out the window. But see, like, every time I see him block, that's what I'm reacting to. If you expect him to block, that's where all your problems are going to come in. You should expect him to get hit and react to the blocking. Now, obviously, he's getting hit in between, and you guys are probably wondering why he's getting hit in between. And it's because low jab into low strong, while is a combo, isn't necessarily a true block string depending on the timing. So sometimes he'll block the first hit and still get hit by the low strong like that. That's the only reason why he's getting hit by the low strong, but I'm hit confirming 2 buttons. I'm hit confirming jab into strong, not just the low strong. So it's very important to make sure that you know, hit confirm off of the first attack. And in a lot of cases, the longer the sequence you can put at the beginning, the easier it is to hit confirm. So if I go low jab, low jab, low jab, low jab, low forward into super, for example, it's super easy to hit confirm that because I have 10 years to actually hit confirm off of this. Like this, right? So as soon as I see him hit with 2 low jabs, I'm like, oh, I'm good to go. I'm just going to go and low forward into super. However, if he blocks, which would be really nice, computer, if you actually block once in a while, stupid random, but you know, I have way more time to react to the fact that he blocked and stopped my combo. So the longer the startup is, the better off you are for hit confirms. The reason why you wouldn't choose to always do a longer startup like this is only because damage. Because obviously the more jabs you put at the beginning of a combo, the less damage you're going to get. So here, let me just do low jab, low forward into super. I'm going to get 339 damage off of that. If I do 2 low jabs, oops. I am not plinking, by the way, so bad on me not using my own advice from last week. There you go. So now I plinked it here. You know, I'm not losing that much damage. I lost a whole 5 damage in this situation. But there are a lot of situations where, you know, if you want to hit confirm, because I can hit confirm jab, 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 low forward like that, right? So I can go jab, 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 low forward into super. And you'll see right here, now I'm doing progressively less and less damage with more hits that I do. So for the most part, you will get the most damage off of the fewest moves. And in a game where your opponent can get a tiny little life and tag out and recover life, those little bits of life will actually make a difference sometimes. So, you know, if you want to hit confirm off of 2 moves, it's better to do that than it is to hit confirm off of too many moves. But a lot of times, sometimes it's just easier to hit confirm off of multiple hits. Like I can do that, for example. So, you know, if I'm Ryu and if I'm hit confirming off of 4 jabs like I just did right here, what I'll actually do is, instead of doing low forward into super, which would be a huge waste of my meter because I'm doing a lot less damage, I'll probably hit confirm into a sweep. And if I hit confirm into a sweep, I get the hard knockdown, then he can only either just regular get up or roll forward, and I have a decent mix-up game in that situation. In Street Fighter 4, that kind of hit confirm is a lot more effective, a lot more powerful, because the hard knockdown is that much more important in Street Fighter 4 because there's no forward rolls in that game. And, even other games like King of Fighters, if you can hit confirm into something, just for the knockdown instead of actually going for something crazy. So you may even want to just do, like that. And now I get a knockdown and I can go for an approach. After 4 jabs, if you're hit confirming, don't waste your meter on a low forward super, because you can probably save that for more damage later on, like on an incoming character if you want to punish them or something like that. So once again, kind of deviating from the core point that I'm trying to make here, what I really want to get people to remember, the one concept that I want people to really, to not forget, is that you want to expect them to get hit. You do not want to expect them to block. And that's how you're going to do the hit confirm. You're always going to think they hit. Wow. Like that, see? So I'm always gonna finish my combo, and then as soon as I see them block, I'm gonna react by stopping. And for the most part, you need at least 2 moves to do a hit confirm. So I am not gonna be able to hit confirm off of a low forward whether he gets hit or blocked. I probably could if I really practice hard enough with it, and if I get really good at it, but you know what? It's too risky, and you're going to find yourself missing it a lot of the time. Right now, even though the computer's on random, he's getting hit every single time, and so it looks like I'm amazing right now, and I'm hitting him every time, but he hasn't blocked yet. Is he not on random? He is on random. Dude, this is the worst randomizer I've ever seen in my life. Okay, see, now I'm going to waste the super here. And that's not what you want here. So you generally want 2 moves to hit confirm. And that could even start from a cross up too. This could be the first hit of a hit confirm. If he blocks that, I can stop. I can not do the uppercut like that. But if I actually hit him, I'm going to finish the combo. It's always about 2 moves. The other really good hit confirm is if you happen to have a link. So even if, let's say, Ryu can do stand jab, link into super, which I don't think he can do, but if there was such a thing, Cammy, for example, can do low fierce linked into super. You can hit confirm off of that one move because it's a link and the low fierce lasts a really long time. But you're not gonna hit confirm off of a low forward cancel for the most part. Now, the interesting thing is, for a lot of people who have played Cammy and maybe seen Alion play Cammy, I know Steinmania has talked about this with Cammy. I've talked about this with Cammy. I feel like sometimes I can hit confirm off of a single low forward into drill. Just like that. Like, as soon as I see them hit, I actually just go right into the drill. And if they block, I don't end up doing it. So I'm kind of hit confirming off of one move. And Chun-Li, of course, in Third Strike, the very infamous low forward hit confirm into Hoyokusen. If I say that you have to have 2 moves, why is it that those situations you are able to hit confirm off of one move? And I'll explain that in a little bit as soon as we come back. So stick around and I'll explain. All right, everybody, welcome back to First Attack. Before we left on break, I had talked about the fact that you generally want to have 2 moves to preface a hit confirm. That is the best way to do a hit confirm, giving yourself 2 moves. That gives you enough time for most general human reaction to properly hit confirm into a block or a hit. And I did talk about some situations, even with myself. There have been times that I felt like with Cammy, I have actually hit confirmed off of 1 low forward into a drill properly. And then, of course, there's the infamous example of Chun-Li low forward into super in third strike. And I know a lot of people are going to bring those kind of situations up and say, well, you know what? I've seen people hit confirm off of 1 move. So, first of all, if you have amazing reactions, if your reactions are supremely godlike, you might be able to hit confirm off of 1 move, but I am not going to recommend it. You will be basically playing with fire the entire fight. You're going to hit confirm 1 time into an uppercut when they block, and then you are going to die. It is not very easy to hit confirm into on 1 move. It's not practical. I do not recommend it. In fact, I am highly against it. So here are the questions, obviously. How does Chun-Li hit confirm 1 hit into super in Street Fighter 3? For those people who have watched a lot of Street Fighter 3, know Chun-Li is one of the best characters. And she is one of the best characters because of that ability to hit confirm a low forward into super. So how is it that players are able to do that with Chun-Li in third strike? And I'm sitting here telling you that it's not practical, even though every top Chun-Li player does it in third strike. The reason is because Chun-Li's low forward is actually a little glitched. It's not, like I said, it's not actually practical to do. You can do it, but it's not practical to do because I've talked about frames in this game, and for the most part, when I talked about when I had my first execution episode and I was teaching you how to buffer moves, I talked about, startup frames, active frames, and recovery frames. And when I said when you buffer into a move, for the most part, you can only buffer a move during the active frames. So if I do Ryu low forward into fireball, I can only cancel when the active frames are still there. So those frames that are able to hit are the only ones that I can cancel. Chun-Li's low forward and third strike has a weird property that allows you to cancel it during the start of its recovery. So in other words, right when you see Ryu's legs start to pull back, as soon as you see Ryu's legs start to pull back, sorry, I went away from the view here. As soon as you see Ryu's leg pulling back, I cannot cancel into the fireball anymore. Listen. Right, you hear me hitting the button. Well, actually, you're not going to be able to hear it properly because the microphone is not properly synced with the screen. But if it was properly synced with the screen, you would hear me hitting the buttons, while the leg is coming back, and I wouldn't be able to cancel it. Chun-Li in third strike has a weird property that while the leg is coming back slightly, you can still cancel it. And remember how I talked about Cammy being able to link low fierce into super? It's kind of the same thing with Chun-Li. It's almost a link, but not quite a link. So you do have an easier time hit confirming off of it. It's still hard. It's still going to be harder than most hit confirms, especially a hit confirm with Cammy. But it's going to be a lot easier than just trying to do low forward into super with Ryu in this game or something like that. So that's the reason why you can actually do it with Chun-Li in that game. So, I don't want you thinking that the people who are playing Chun-Li in third strike just have the most amazing reactions and they can hit confirm off of 1 hit, and that guys like Amir and and MOV and all the Chun-Li players are just Justin Wong and Ricky Ortiz are just like super reaction man, because a lot of people have the misconception with fighting games that fighting games are so much based on reaction. You know, a lot of people say, I don't like fighting games because they're too reaction based. There's less strategy. It's all about reaction or whatever. You would actually be surprised at how little of the game is reaction and how much of the game is actually anticipation and pre-planning. So I do not want people to think that they're canceling low forward into super with Chun-Li off of reaction. They get a lot more time than a standard combo. Now, I also talked about before going to break that sometimes I feel like I'm psychic with Cammy, that, you know, when they block it, I don't end up drilling, and then sometimes, but whenever they do get hit, I do end up drilling. And a lot of Cammy players from Street Fighter 4 have talked about this. I know Alion's mentioned this on the Cammy boards. Steinmania has mentioned this a lot when I've talked to him. Just kind of this weird psychic ability to always hit confirm Cammy's low forward into a drill. And then, you know, sometimes when I play Edma a lot. We've talked about him a lot. And he gets particularly mad because it feels like I always do it on hit and never on block. He always gets mad at me. Like, there's no way you could possibly hit confirm off of that one hit. It's somehow every time you hit me, you do it, and he gets frustrated with that because it feels random. And to be honest, he is 100% correct. There is no way I should be able to hit confirm off of one hit. And in fact, if I set this computer to random block like this, I will probably only successfully do it properly 50% of the time. And it's just because it's impossible. It is impossible. So what am I doing that actually makes it so that I can hit confirm off of it? Well, for those people who are used to Street Fighter 4, they know a very common combo for Cammy was EX dive kick into super, right? That's actually kind of hard to hit confirm as well because it's only one move. I talked about you need 2 moves to be able to hit confirm off of it. So one button is kind of tricky. What ends up happening is that I'm actually not hit confirming the low forward. The trick actually turns out that I'm hit confirming off of my opponent. Sometimes when I hit low forward and I do fireball into cannon drill, so I'm doing fireball with kick so I can cancel into cannon drill, I'm doing the motion, and if I see my opponent twitch, like if he hits a button or if he starts a focus attack in Street Fighter 4 or something like that, if I see him twitch, that's the trigger to me to go into the drill. It actually wasn't whether the low forward hit or not, it's actually seeing him twitch. Because in most situations, if he starts to twitch, it's probably meaning that he hit a button or he stood up, which means I'm going to hit him low, or he tried to focus attack, like I said, or he's going to try to charge here in Street Fighter Cross Tekken. So what happens is if I hit the button right here and he twitches, I am reacting to his twitch and I'm going to drill. This is not safe. This is not a talent that you should be learning. It is very bad, actually, because if my opponent does this, I'm going to drill and I am going to die. So if he just knows enough that that's kind of how I'm playing, he would just twitch like this. And in fact, Ed would start doing that to me. He would walk up to me and go, ah! He would just walk up to me and go, ah! And he would literally do that noise too, ah! At the same time. And I would end up doing low forward drill. He would block it and he would kill me. And that is exactly what I'm reacting to, is the twitch. So there is actually part of the game. You can react to it, and in some situations doing the Tiger Knee dive kick in Street Fighter 4, I'm not reacting to whether or not this dive kick hits. I'm actually reacting to see if my opponent crouch teched or not. I usually react to see if I see a whiffed low short. As soon as I see a whiff low short, then I do the super. And so I'm not reacting to whether this hits, I'm reacting to what my opponent is doing. And that actually gives you the lead-in time to properly do a hit confirm. Like I said, if I sit here and play against the computer here right now, and if I put him to random block, I will mess up so often, and I will be dead and punished all day. But in the heat of a battle, there are certain times where you just feel like you know your opponent did something, because you see them twitch or you see something happen. And honestly, this is more of a in-person thing too. because as much as a lot of us don't like to admit we do this, all of us do. We listen to buttons. We hear buttons. One of the reasons why it's so much easier to tech throws in person than it is in online is because you hear the guy smack the buttons when they throw. And it's actually bad to hit the buttons very loudly when you throw. You're actually better off throwing as silently as possible because it's less of a cue. And most of us, don't realize we listen to buttons, but we do. So sometimes when I do this low forward drill, I end up just hit confirming into a drill because I heard my opponent hit a button. So as soon as I hear that button hit, I'm like, oh, well, he's going to get hit by this because you can't hit a button and block this low forward, so I'm just going to go into drill. So these are kind of little things that you learn to take advantage of when you play in person versus when you play online. And when you play against certain players like John Choi. John Choi is infamous for this. In fact, he's one of the main people that uses this technique that not a lot of other people use. John Choi hits buttons loudly no matter what he does. One of his favorite ones to do, one of my favorite ones to watch him to do is in CVS2. If you watch him do a fierce uppercut with Sagat, which hits 5 times, the entire time on the way up, while it's hitting, you'll hear him do this. Like for every hit that Sagat does. And he'll just hit buttons, even if I do a roundhouse like this that lasts a really long time, he'll hit buttons in the middle of these moves just to kind of keep you a little bit on your toes to the reaction of button presses. This is an actual legitimate tournament strategy when you're playing next to somebody. And while a lot of people may think that this is dumb, I can't believe people do this in tournaments, this is retarded. This is a real problem. This is something that you really have to deal with. And right now I'm laughing because it really looks like Jin and Nina's heads are the heads of the dolls on the billboard. I don't know why that's amusing me right now, but it's making me laugh. But yeah, this is actually a legitimate strategy to hit buttons particularly hard or to hit buttons lightly. Cannon drill is a low hit. It's essentially a far sweep. And usually from this far away, if I do fireball with drill like this, most people will block it because they'll hear the button a lot of the time. And that will give them the reaction, oh my gosh, Cammy did something. From that far away, it's probably drill. I'm going to low block. There's actually a trick I use that I will hold roundhouse down and I will do the drill with negative edge. If you remember last week, I talked about how you can actually do special moves by letting go of buttons. So I can do fireball and let go of roundhouse. I will tell you this right now. When I do fireball and let go of roundhouse, my success rate of landing a drill from this far away goes up to about 80%, as opposed to actually doing fireball and drill and hitting the button. Because people will hear that button and it triggers something in their brain to block. This has nothing to do with hit confirms, by the way. I'm now going off on a complete tangent talking about buttons and strategies here. And I apologize, but it's now that the subject is brought up, it's kind of a cool thing to bring up and to talk about. But as soon as I do a negative edge drill, because they don't hear that button, they get no audio cue to actually low block. And you will hit people a lot more often doing that than actually hitting the button loudly. And so, yeah, so back to why I brought this up. That's sometimes how I hit confirm, single moves, is because you'll hear the opponent hit a button and you're pretty sure at that point that you're going to hit them. One last hit confirm technique, which is not really a hit confirm, it's more of an option select. If you have a move that has a lot of priority, I don't want to say Cammy low strong because it doesn't have a lot of priority, but if you do this into super, this is kind of a hit confirm in itself, because the only way the opponent is going to ever trigger the super is if he touches a button and gets hit by my low strong. So if he sticks a button out and gets hit by that low strong, my super is going to come out. If he doesn't touch a button because he's too far away, my super will never come out. That's a separate kind of hit confirm, but I don't want to call it a hit confirm. It's more of an option select, and I will go into option selects a lot more in a future episode because it's definitely one of the things a lot of people talk about. I will do option selects and frame traps. I know it's something that a lot of people are requesting, but I'm kind of purposely staying away from it right now because I feel it's a little too advanced of a topic for what I want to go into for now. But yeah, that's about all I have for Hit Confirms. Of course, if there's any questions about Hit Confirms that I have not covered, I apologize. I haven't been keeping track of the stream comments as well. But if you have any questions, please email to ultrachentv@gmail.com with the subject of Ask Jchensor, or tweet me, or tweet UltraChenTV with the hashtag of Ask Jchensor, and I'll try to answer the questions next week if I see something that's particularly important that I did not cover. And speaking of Ask Jchensor, I will be right back, and when we come back, I will go into this week's Ask Jchensor segment, so stick around, guys. All right, welcome back, everybody, to First Attack. Now I'm going to go into the questions that people have asked me during the course of the week via email or via Twitter. Let me grab my notes here. So this is the Ask Jchensor segment. Of course, you can send me an email, like I said, at ultrachentv@gmail.com with the subject line of Ask Jchensor, or send a tweet to UltraChenTV with a hashtag of Ask Jchensor, and I will do my best to answer your questions on the stream here live. And, ask any level of questions. You can ask anything, like how do I improve my footsies game, to what would you recommend me do to, to run a tournament, how can I grow my scene, etc., etc. Any question is free game. Although if you do have something of a more complicated subject matter, like if you want to go into more metagames and like really detailed, mind games and stuff like that, David is now also doing an Ask Ultra David segment. So you can send those questions to UltraChenTV with the hashtag of Ask Ultra David, and he'll get to those questions in his segment. So as for this week here, let's see here. I had a few good questions that I wanted to answer here. So, I talk about frames a lot, and we go into frames and we're like, oh, this is -3, this is -6 or whatever. And so Tori actually asks, he's been playing for a couple of years and he's never been able to see frames. When we talk like, oh, this move is -7 on block and such like that. And so he's worried that this may be a silly question, but, he says that, they notice that this is this many frames, etc., etc. He's asking, how is this possible? How do people actually know how many frames they are just by seeing them? And the answer is twofold. First part is that, if you play enough Street Fighter, it gets like the Matrix after a while. You start seeing like these things on the screen, but you can kind of... No, I'm kidding. Actually, you can't. There's no way you can see frames. You cannot count frames at all just by watching it. It's impossible. That's the first thing I want to get across. The only reason why we know all these frames is because we've read the guides and we've memorized them, or someone told us, we saw it on a forum, or we did an experiment that will tell us how many frames they are. The best way, but there are times that we can discern frame data in the middle of a match, and that usually happens because, for example, I know Ken's Fierce DP has a 3-frame startup. So let's say I see someone do a low strong point blank to Ken, they block it, and Ken Fierce uppercuts and punishes him properly. Then to myself, I'm like, okay, well, if he got punished, that move is at least -3 frames. Could be -4, could be -5, but it's at least -3 frames. So sometimes during commentary or something like that, you'll hear someone go, oh, okay, so that must be at least -3 frames, so it was punishable, blah, blah, blah. They didn't see the frames. They just know how fast the move was that punished it. So that way they know. Or, for example, like Cammy's uppercut in Street Fighter Cross Tekken is a 4-frame startup. Someone will do a move and block it, and Cammy will block it, and then Cammy will do an uppercut. You'll see reversal come out, and the opponent blocks it in time. So now I know the opponent is -3 or -2 because Cammy can't punish it, and the reversal tells me she did it at the earliest frame possible. So, I'll say something like, oh, okay, well, that move is, -3 at worst, so Cammy is unable to punish it. So it's not we're actually seeing the frames. It's just that we know how fast the attacks are. So we know we can kind of discern the frames from there. Last week I went over FADC combos, and Kyle here basically says that he has trouble doing the dash into Ultra. And, I talked to him. I talked last week about, trying to remain calm, doing a dash into Ultra, practicing the dash Ultra motion. And, he says that he still can't tell if he's doing the timing right or if he feels like he's panicking and such. And it's kind of funny because he sent me that message, and then another person by the name of Goki Only talked about the FADC Ultras, and he actually said to me that he felt like I kind of missed a tip. I talked about blending the uppercut into the focus cancel. I talked about blending the dash into the Ultra motion, but I did not talk about blending the actual focus cancel into the dash. And, he actually says there are ways to get around it. For example, instead of hitting medium punch and medium kick and then forward to do the focus cancel and then dash, he says a technique that he actually uses is that he hits forward, so he hits towards on the controller plus medium kick and medium punch at the same time. So what he's doing, he's uppercutting, and instead of just doing the focus cancel, he's doing uppercut and then hitting forward on the controller and hitting the two middle buttons at the same time. What he's doing is he's blending the focus cancel with the first tap of the focus cancel. So after he does the focus cancel, he just has to tap forward one more time and his character will automatically dash. And then he can calmly do the Ultra motion instead of trying to think, okay, dash into Ultra. So that's actually a really good piece of advice. I don't personally do it that way, but other people should if they are having trouble with that. And it's a really great shortcut, a really good technique to learn, to do uppercut, focus and towards, and then tap towards one more time just to get that forward dash in there. So thank you, Goki Only, for that little tip, because that does help a lot. I have Zach Stremmel here, who sent in a message. He actually just asked me if it's possible one day to just do a stream or a podcast where we just tell stories from the arcade days, like talk about some stuff from a long time ago. Have special guests on the show to talk about history and stuff like that. And to that, I say absolutely. We have every intention of doing that. In fact, I know of a person that I already want to bring on to the show, a player that not a lot of people know about. He's true old school, super old school player, and hopefully I'll be able to get him onto the show at one point in time. He goes by the name of LA Akira, Gerald Abraham. He's super old school player. He has so many amazing stories about Street Fighter from the old days, and it's really fun to hear about these things. So, absolutely one of these days we'll get people like him, maybe even get John Choi, try to, get Jason Cole through Skype or something like that, because there are so many amazing stories. And I feel like history is one of the most important things about Street Fighter that we're kind of losing a little bit. So, yeah, it's definitely something that we want to do. So, yeah, look forward to that in the future. And there is one longer message here that I got that I really want to answer this question, but I don't think I have the time to answer this properly. I'll save this one for next week, because this is a question that I really want to get into. But it's a long question, and it's a very introspective question here, so I will get into it next week. So let me in the 2 minutes that I have left, let me go over some other ones. I actually really like this question from Dektalon. He says, is there an order of things to try when testing an opponent's reactions and habits? This is a really good question, because if you hear commentary a lot of the time, especially with me and David, one of the things that we talk about a lot is how top players will just try things and take damage in the first round or in the first game, and they get blown up, and then once they figure it out, they just completely destroy their opponent. So it really comes to a good question. What order do you try things in? And if you're playing a person that you have no idea what they do and you have no idea how they play, it's always better to go for the safest option first to test them out. So, for those people who understand frame traps, I'm going to throw the term out there. Apologies for the people who don't quite understand it, but frame traps are a alternative to throwing. So, for example, if you block my jump attack and I walk up and try to throw you, if they check the throw every time, just know that frame traps is a technique to punish the counter throw technique. So you have frame trap or throw. In general, going for the throw is much, much safer than going for the frame trap. Going for the throw, if they counter it properly and they tech it, nobody takes any damage. You only lose a little bit of momentum. It's all good. No skin off your back. However, if you go for a frame trap and they attack quicker than you think, or they do something that you're not expecting, you could eat a lot of damage. And not only that, you could lose a lot of momentum. So if you're playing against a player that you don't know how they play, in general, it's always best to go for the safest option first. Backdashing when you get up, for example, not a lot of people are ready to punish backdashes. That counts as a safe option. Very few things are safer than just blocking when you get up. So that's actually a really safe option. So when you're trying to learn your opponent, when you're trying to figure out their habits, always steer towards the sides of safeness and then go towards the other side. Now, in situations where you're playing against an opponent that you're very familiar with, like there are some players that I know that crouch tech all the time, and I know I can frame trap them almost guaranteed. I'll go frame trap right away, but that's only if I know them. So once again, thank you everybody for sending in these questions all the time. I really appreciate all these questions. There are a lot of great questions, and I'm sorry because honestly, I think I only get to about 40% of the questions. There's so many I want to answer more. Maybe one of these days I'll just have a 1-hour Ask Jchensor segment to catch up on a lot of these questions. So thank you so much for sending them all in. And if you have any questions, once again, ultrachentv@gmail.com with the subject line Ask Jchensor, or send me a tweet at ultrachentv with the hashtag of Ask Jchensor, and I will do my best to answer those questions. Thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of First Attack. Stay tuned. Level 3 Focus with Ultra David will be coming right up. Stick around, guys.